to the family. Like, there's a lot of family members who are just really wanting their family member to sober up. And they get really scared watching their family member destroy themselves, destroy their families, destroy their careers, destroy their character. And family members don't know what to do. So they will try to do all these kind of things like, support them with money, support them with places to live, give them the benefit of the doubt. And a lot of these drug addicts and alcoholics can get sober for short increments of time. In our big book, it talks about, most of them will not make it a year. If they're lucky, if they make it a few days or a week even. And my experience as a guy working with others is your average guy who hasn't been beaten enough will not make it a month. If they make it a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, it's very unlikely they're going to make it a year. Why? Because the solution that we need is not implemented into the individual's life. And I have a bit of a theory that I've built as I work with so many alcoholics and addicts is a lot of us need our spirit to be beaten along with our ego to a pulp, to a state of reasonableness. And unless they're both beaten simultaneously together to a point of desperation, we have a saying, the gift of desperation. Unless they're beaten together, if the ego's still too strong, then the ego will overtake it. And it's the kind of deal, I'm a drug addict, I'm an alcoholic, and I know that, and I'm desperate and I'll do anything. But then you give him $20, give him a haircut and a new pair of shoes, and he's all good. What's the problem here? His friends are mystified when he walks back into the crack dealer's house or the meth dealer's house or into the bar. His family's like, what's going on? You just burnt your life down. But the addict alcoholic has an abnormality in his thinking. He has a mental blank spot and he can't really see the truth of what's happening. And until they're beaten into the state of reasonableness so that the light of reason can start shining and that they're willing to do anything. That's why trying to get them help too early is almost sometimes a detriment to the person's own recovery because they're not ready and it won't stick. But I have the connection with the family, and I understand because I have my own family members that are struggling with addiction. And my dad has tried to help my brother who struggles. And my dad has 35 years in helping addicts and alcoholics. And he knew that no human power was going to be able to help him. But he went to help him anyway. Why? Because that's his son. And if he didn't do something, he didn't know if he could live with himself if his son died. So I get that. And I said to my dad, Dad, no human power can relieve our alcoholism. My brother's power must come from something greater than himself. And my dad said, yeah, I know, son, but I got to go do this for myself. And that's what he did. So that's the same kind of struggle as a lot of people have, and they don't understand. So I get a lot of calls with people wondering what they should do, and I got to tell them the truth. I said, you can't do anything. I said, the best thing you can do is I know you want to care, I know you do care, but you have to take the position that you can't care for your own well-being. You have to take a position that you can't care. And you have to almost let them spiral down to a point where they're beaten up enough. The problem with allowing them to spiral down, and this disease is so cunning and it's so deadly, that a lot of these people actually do die. Like, this is a progressive fatal illness. This is not just a temporary illness. This is an illness that kills people nonstop, daily. And I know many people that have died from this illness. And some of them as recent as last week. And I work with guys all the time that were on the verge of death. But a lot of these guys are the guys who get it because they were at the brink. and they were willing to do anything, and they've tried everything. You know, there's a line in the book, it says, when we became alcoholics, crushed by a self-imposed crisis, we could no longer postpone or evade. I know for me, I was postponing and evading the self-imposed crisis of addiction for years. And I would try this and I would try that. And, you know, I would do anything than admit that I'm an alcoholic or a drug addict and go to AA or NA or CA or whatever the fellowship was. I would do anything to try to postpone and evade it. But I was finally backed into a corner that I couldn't postpone and evade. I had to fearlessly face the proposition that either this program and this God thing that I didn't give a shit about was going to work, or it wasn't. And if I had one more place to go, I would have went there. But I know I had nowhere to go. And when no one else wanted me, you know, like I didn't even want me. You know, my kids loved me and I had family that loved me, but I was pretty unrepairable at that point. And I didn't even know who I was. I did not like who I looked at in the mirror. I didn't even want me. But these people wanted me. And they said they would do anything to help me if I wanted to help myself. So they reached their hands out and they gave me some new hope and some new courage. And then I walked with them and they walked with me, and that's where we're at, you know. And I got rid of the substance, and now I implement the design for living, which is really what the big book is all about. Yeah, it's about a substance. I came here because of a substance, but really it's much more than that. And that's the message that I want to carry. Like most of the work that I do in this city, I run big book studies. I do one-on-one step groups. I do one-on-many step groups. I do, you know, various question and answer periods. The message that I'm carrying is this isn't about the drug and the drink. That is why you came here, but there's something more than that. This book and this program and this way of life will give you something that you can't believe or understand. And if you follow the directions as they're outlined, you got a really good chance at a way good life. Much better life than even your average human being that's not an alcoholic or addict. You know, this program and this book is not just designed really for just addicts and alcoholics. It only talks about alcohol in step 1. You know, never talks about it again in the steps on the wall. Does talk about a little bit in the book. But this is about finding this power, allowing this power to run my life. And so for the family that wonders what to do, you got to step away. And I know that it's hard. And Al-Anon's out there to help you. And there's people that have gone through what you're going through. And if you find those like people, they'll support you.